Okay, this is piece 157 titled Templo Mayor, which means main temple. And the two identifiers that I would want to know are that this is in Tenochtitlan or Mexico City, and it's from the Mexica or Aztec people. That would be location and culture. I didn't put this on every slide, so be sure to get this one down here. The big deal is all four of these images are about what was found right here at, or these three were found here at Templo Mayor. I'm going to deal with these two in class. There's too much to them. So I'm going to talk about this context for the whole thing, and then the temples and the jade mask. The context for all of these is that this is part of the Aztec culture, which is right here in modern day Mexico today in red. And it is centered on the city of Tenochtitlan, which is present day Mexico City. And Tenochtitlan was built in the middle of this pretty shallow lake called Lake Texcoco. Here is Lake Texcoco. Here's the city of Tenochtitlan. It had these great causeways that people could walk to get into the heart of the city. And right here at the center of the city was our Templo Mayor, or main temple. It was like the city of Venice in Italy, Tenochtitlan was, because they had not roads, but they had waterways like canals that people would canoe to get around. And there was a lot of wonderful, productive, fertile land that they did intensive agriculture on and grew all of these crops. These land pieces are called chinampas. And in the center of the city, you could canoe up and you would go to this very center that is called the main temple. And here is an image that shows us this main temple complex. This temple that I've outlined, that's our image. And the deal is that this main temple was the axis mundi, the middle axis of this empire. And for them, it's where the sky, the earth, and the underworld met. It is where the cycle of life and fertility is marked. And it's like the geographic, ritual, and symbolic heart of the universe. This is kind of their center of their world right here at these two temples. The Aztec believed that in order to keep the sun in the sky, they needed to sacrifice people and give blood and hearts to the gods. And the Aztec used terror and demanded people for sacrifice to keep this God in the sun in the sky. More context is that in 1978, electrical workers were digging up around in Mexico City, and that's when Tenochtitlan and this Templo Mayor was unearthed. You can see here the Catholic churches in the background, government buildings actually as well. I want you to remember those for a minute here. In terms of form, we have here the Aztec twin temples of Tlaloc and Huitzilopochtli. These are the two gods. Tlaloc is the god of rain. Huitzilopochtli is the god of war and sun. And this whole temple pyramid complex was devoted to those two gods because you need rain to grow crops and you need war in order to keep the people you're controlling, under wraps. The more form is this temple that we see was actually built upon multiple times. Every time a new leader came to power, they could rebuild the temple. Sometimes it was sinking too, and so they had a little bit of concern about water coming in, and so flooding, so they would rebuild. But every time it got a little bigger, and so there were 7 layers of temples. The Spanish took the top layers of stone and used them to build those government buildings, those churches I pointed out. And now the government of Mexico has been digging into all of these other layers, made an incredible museum out of it. The function of this Templo Mayor main temple complex is that religious ceremonies were held here. And again, they believe that the only way we keep the sun in the sky was to conduct these ceremonies. Here is the wall of skulls, what it looks like, and here's where it's located in this temple complex. So really huge, thousands of skulls shown here. The two temples that we see here to Tlaloc and Huitzilopochtli are significant. They were placed specifically so that between them, the sun would rise at the point marking the equinox, meaning the time in the spring when the sun and nighttime were equal. And it is the time when they would know that they're going from war and sun into rain, and this would mark the beginning of the planting season. So amazing understanding of the sky and all the celestial happenings. This building right here, you can see it here as well. It's a circular bit, and it's from this balcony stand that you can look out and watch to check for the day that the equinox happens. This represents Huitzilopochtli, here, Huitzilopochtli side here. This represents Huitzilopochtli as the wind. Okay, on each side, there was sacrificing done. So on the Tlaloc side, this guy, Shakmol, he existed over here, and there, so sacrifices would be made right here. Blood would be going into this bowl on his abdomen, and he would be the messenger to the gods saying, hey, we've done some sacrifices for you. And then the people who were sacrificed would be rolled down the stairs here. Okay, context for the jadeite Olmec style mask, this mask. It is contextually, when they built the main temple, they did these little caches of like a time capsule, and they put in there all this important stuff from their empire, like here's some little idol carvings, and then there were shells from the furthest reaches of the Aztec Empire, and there was this jade mask in there as well. The form of this jade mask is it's jade, the very hardest stone there is to carve. It is called green stone, and it was from this area of the world. Mexico, or the Aztec Empire, is right here. This is where Tenochtitlan is, and so this is a distance away, and it is 1,000 years older than the Aztecs. So the content is this cleft in his forehead is where corn would grow out of symbolically. Green is for fertility. That's why jade was so important, jadeite. And then there's a depression in the back of the skull or mask, but we don't think that it means that it's meant to be worn on a person's face. Not sure what that's about though, because it's so small. It only fits like in the palm of a person's hand. The function we think though is, here's another mask that's from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So our mask is not the only jadeite Olmec mask out there. So we think that what these are features that the Olmec appreciated. And so we have a downturned mouth. We have almond-shaped eyes, wide nose, bigger lips, and all of this, and chubbier cheeks. All of this would probably mean some supernatural person, not a human person. These are attributes that they appreciated, probably showed that they were well fed. But we think this is more of a tribute to the Olmec maize god. And what the heck is it doing in the Aztec Templo Mayor? Well, we think it is a sign that the Aztecs valued the Olmec heritage that was 1,000 years before them. So that's its function. All right, that's Templo Mayor. I'm going to cover the rest in class.